Imagine this. You've prepared for months. You've pictured this moment over 100 times. The arena is loud, but your heart is louder. Then, on the very day you've been preparing for, you wake up sick. You're shivering. Every muscle feels heavier than it ever has. Would you step onto the mat? Hello everyone, my name is Nivedita Kadam and today I will be talking about the day I chose to live beyond doubt. As a child, I had a book of Proverbs, and of the many phrases in that book, one particularly stood out to me. Not because I loved it, but because I simply couldn't get myself to agree with it. The phrase went, "Don't jump high in a room with a low ceiling." The basic idea behind it was know your limits, stay within your boundaries, be realistic. At first glance, it sounds like good advice, doesn't it? After all, wouldn't life be way less disappointing if we just didn't aim too high? But even as a child, something about the phrase felt incomplete to me. Who decided where the ceiling was? How did we even know if it's real? And most importantly, if no one ever dared to jump, how would anyone ever know how high the room goes? These questions stayed with me as echoes. And these echoes returned to me June of 2025. Now, I may not be one good at track events, but karate has always been a sport I loved. And last year, I had the opportunity to play at a national level. For 4 months, I practiced, I trained, I pushed my limits. Days after days, weeks after weeks, laying one stone after the other, building something I couldn't yet see. But one thing I knew, every practice was a brick in the foundation. Then came the day of the tournament, and so did a fever. I remember speaking to my coach, and he suggested that I rather not play. And honestly, it sounded like sensible advice. If you're sick, shouldn't you rest? If your body is telling you to stop, shouldn't you listen? If all the odds are stacked up against you, shouldn't you just wait for another opportunity? Every question made sense, but other questions pushed their way through my mind. What if I never tried? Not what if I lost, not what if I failed. What if I never knew? Standing there, I realized I had a choice. I could either return home wondering what might have happened, or I could have found out. After all, what stays with us longer? The memory of a defeat, or the regret of not stepping forward at all? So I chose to step onto the mat. Now, if my life were a movie, this would usually be the part where the dramatic music starts playing, the hero suddenly finds hidden strength, and the fever is now as relevant as the history of shoelaces. Real life, however, is much less cinematic, but much more interesting. So, as the match began, I could feel the fever. Every round felt longer, every breath felt heavier, and more than once I questioned my decision. Had I made a mistake? Had my coach been right? Should I have just stayed on the sidelines? It's funny how quickly doubt appears. It often doesn't wait until after we fail. It shows up the moment we think of beginning. It's like that one member in a group project who has no contribution as such but shows up last minute with their unwanted advice. It's like doubt has a season pass to every one of life's meaningful opportunities. But here's what I've learned: courage isn't the absence of doubt, it is the simple act of continuing while doubt is still talking. Eventually, the tournament ended. Did I win the gold? No. I won the silver. And for a moment, I didn't know how to react. Because often, when we prepare towards success, we imagine it as one specific moment, one medal, one result, one perfect happily ever after. But life seldom gives us that. Standing there with the silver medal, I realized it was not the most valuable thing I had earned that day. The most valuable thing I had earned was perspective. Because the lesson wasn't that courage guarantees victory, the lesson was that courage makes growth possible. That day I learned that ceilings come in many forms. Sometimes they're circumstances, sometimes they're setbacks, sometimes they're expectations of other people, and sometimes they're limits that we set upon ourselves. The strange thing about ceilings is that from afar they can look permanent, solid, impossible to move. But how many of them have we tested? And how many of them have we just accepted without even questioning? That day I learned that I was capable of jumping way higher than I ever imagined. Yes, I didn't go home with the gold. What I did go home with was proof. Proof that fear doesn't always get the final vote. Proof that doubt isn't always right. Proof that ceilings are often way stronger in our imaginations than they are in real life. So, I'd like to leave you with this today. Every time you hesitate, someone with half your talent and double your audacity takes away an opportunity that you could have wasted. Thank you.